Their lavish wedding is the talk of the town, but beneath the surface of their union lies a sinister secret. As Chijioke grows distant, Amara discovers a mysterious vial and a parchment hidden in their home, leading her to uncover a horrifying truth: her husband has sold her shadow to a spirit. In the heart of Odenigbo, a bustling city known for its rich culture and lively markets, there lived a young woman named Amara. She was a beauty, with eyes like twin pools of clear water and a smile that could light up the darkest room. Her family was not wealthy, but they were respected for their honesty and kindness. Amara's father, Obiora, always said, "A good name is better than gold." But even in her father's wisdom, trouble found its way to Amara. It began on a rainy morning when Chijioke, a man of wealth and influence, asked for Amara's hand in marriage. He was handsome, with a voice that could charm even the most skeptical elder. Chijioke came from a family whose name opened doors, but behind those doors lay secrets. Obiora, her father, was hesitant, but Amara, dazzled by Chijioke's charm and promises, agreed. The air was thick with celebration, laughter, and music spilled into the streets, where crowds gathered to witness the grandest wedding the city had seen in years. Amara, the bride, stood behind the heavy wooden doors of the church, her heart pounding like a drum. She clutched her bouquet tightly, her palms sweating. Something felt wrong. As the church bells rang signaling the start of the ceremony, Amara's father, Obiora, gave her a reassuring smile as he prepared to walk her down the aisle. But the unease in Amara's chest refused to fade. Amara, her mother, Nena, whispered, adjusting the veil over her face. "This is your day. You look beautiful, my daughter. Don't let nerves ruin it." Amara nodded, but the pit in her stomach only grew. The doors creaked open, revealing the radiant interior of the church. Rows of friends, family, and strangers seated, their faces full of excitement. At the altar stood Chijioke, her groom, dressed in an immaculate white suit. His face was almost too calm for a man about to marry the love of his life. As Amara walked down the aisle, she noticed something unsettling about Chijioke. His eyes, usually warm and inviting, were cold and distant. They seemed to look through her rather than at her. She forced a smile, willing herself to focus on the vows they were about to make. When she reached the altar, Chijioke took her hands. His touch was cold, like the morning dew on a harmattan day. "Are you ready?" he whispered, his voice low and almost mechanical. Amara hesitated but nodded. The priest began the ceremony, and everything felt like a blur. The words, the prayers, the hymns all faded into the background as Amara's mind raced. That night, as they returned to their new home, Amara could not shake her unease. The house, a sprawling mansion gifted by Chijioke's wealthy family, felt cold and unfamiliar. The walls seemed to whisper, and shadows danced eerily in the flickering candlelight. "Are you okay?" Amara asked, her voice trembling. He turned to her, his face expressionless. "Of course, what makes you think I am not okay?" His tone cold, but in her heart, she knew something was wrong. As days turned into weeks, and Chijioke's absence grew. He left before the rooster crowed and returned after the crickets began their song. When Amara asked, he would smile faintly. "Walk, my love," he would say, but his eyes betrayed him. One fateful day, while cleaning their room, Amara stumbled upon a wooden box tucked beneath their bed. Curiosity burned within her as she opened it. If you are enjoying this tale, please support this channel for more stories. Thank you. Inside, she found a small box filled with black liquid and a piece of parchment marked with strange symbols. Her fingers trembled as she traced the symbols. They felt alive, as though they were whispering secrets meant only for her. When Chijioke returned that evening, Amara confronted him. "What is this?" she demanded, holding the items in her hands. Chijioke's face darkened. "You should not have touched that," he said coldly, snatching the box from her. "Tell me the truth, Chijioke," Amara pleaded. "What are you hiding?" But Chijioke said nothing, his silence louder than any confession. That night, Amara could not sleep, desperate for answers. The next morning, Amara sought the help of her childhood friend, Chidima. Chidima was wise beyond her years, her knowledge of ancient traditions and spiritual matters unmatched. When Amara showed her the parchment and box, Chidima's face turned pale. This is not ordinary, she whispered. These symbols belong to the shadow realm. Amara, your husband has made a pact with the spirits. What kind of pact? Amara asked, her voice shaking. Chidima hesitated. A shadow pact. It means he has offered something of great value to the spirits in exchange for wealth and power. Amara, it's you. He has sold your shadow. Amara's breath caught. Her shadow. The very essence of her being. The thought was unbearable. Amara asked, is there a way to undo it? Chidima nodded slowly. Yes, but it will not be easy. You must confront the spirits and reclaim what is yours. That night, Amara followed Chijioke as he left the house. She trailed him through the winding streets of Odenigbo until they reached an abandoned warehouse on the city's edge. Inside, she hid behind a pile of crates, her heart pounding as she watched Chijioke join a group of hooded figures. In the center of their circle was a large bowl, filled with the same black liquid from the box. The figures began chanting, their voices low and guttural. Slowly, a dark shadow rose from the bowl, and within it, Amara saw her own shadow. It twisted and writhed as though in pain, its form barely recognizable. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the depth of Chijioke's betrayal. So what Chidima told her is true, he had not only sold her shadow but her very essence. Amara ran all the way back home in fear without looking back. When Chijioke returned home, Amara was waiting for him. How could you? She demanded, her voice trembling with rage and sorrow. You sold my shadow for wealth and power. Chijioke looked at her, his face full with guilt. I did it for us, Amara. My family's legacy demanded it. Without the pact, we have nothing. We have nothing now, Amara retorted. What is wealth without trust? What is love without honesty? Chijioke fell silent, unable to meet her gaze. Throughout the night Amara kept thinking. She refused to let her shadow remain in the hands of the spirits. The next morning, with Chidima's help, she sought out Momankiru, a renowned spiritual guide who lived in a small hut deep in the forest. Momankiru listened to Amara's tale, her weathered face betraying no emotion. To reclaim your shadow, you must confront the spirit directly, she said. But beware, shadows hold our fears, our regrets, our darkest thoughts. To face it, is to face yourself. With Momankiru's guidance, Amara entered the spirit world. There, she found her shadow chained to a towering spirit with glowing red eyes. The spirit taunted her, using her deepest insecurities against her. You are weak, it hissed. Even your husband did not value you. But Amara stood firm. I am stronger than my fears, she declared. And I will not let you keep what is mine. With a burst of courage, Amara broke the chains and reclaimed her shadow. The spirit let out a deafening roar before vanishing into the void. Amara returned to the human world, her shadow restored. She left Chijioke, choosing to rebuild her life on her terms. In the end, she learned a powerful lesson. True wealth lies in self-worth and integrity, not in material possessions. Learn to know who you are marrying and the family you are going into, to avoid regret. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tale, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel.